Hello everybody and welcome back to Quin Coins, your home for treasure hunting of all kinds. So in case you're new to the channel, my name is Quinn and I've been making coin roll hunting videos on YouTube for over 6 years now. Throughout my 6 years of coin roll hunting adventures, I've made some wild discoveries, including some very obvious and valuable error coins. But for every obvious error coin that I found, there's probably 10 or more very subtle errors, or maybe even coins that I'm not sure if they have errors on them, and those are what we're going to be taking a look at today. Thanks to the folks over at Star Microscopes who sent me this 207S digital microscope, we are finally going to get the chance to get up close and personal with some of these error coins that I've found over the years. So here's an overview of all of the coins that we're going to be looking at under the microscope today. Lots of good stuff here. Like I was talking about the obvious errors, there is one of the best coins that I've ever found way back in 2016, a capped die penny. And then it just goes down from there. All kinds of things I'm not super sure about. So we're gonna be taking a look at those. Hopefully you guys can give some input on those. We have pennies, nickels, dimes, only one there, a bunch of quarters, and then a couple of coins that I actually found metal detecting, as well as a few specialty coins, including some coins that Kevin found. Part of this video is gonna be me just giving an honest review of this microscope, which so far I really like. It has some cool features that I'll show you later on in the video. So if you're interested in picking up one of these microscopes for yourself, I'll include a link down in the description below and you can go check that out. With that being said, let's go ahead and get up close and personal with some of the best coins that I've found over the years. All right guys, we're gonna be starting this one off with what I would consider one of my best coin roll hunting finds of all time. It definitely was at the time and it still holds up. From March of 2016, 1976 capped die penny. And I hate to break this out of the packaging because, I mean, this is like original, I guess you could say, from like the OG Quin Coins days, but I definitely am gonna have to do that in order to show you guys the coins. All right, so here we go. This is what I'm seeing, guys. 1976. Which is really nice that we actually got a date on this. This is one of the reasons I really like it. Now, from what I understand, every capped die coin is going to look different. This one you can see has like this crazy line just going across the upper right side. So starting right here all the way down to about the 6 o'clock position here, you can kind of see Lincoln, little outline there. We know that the date is right there, 1976, but I just love this line right here because that just makes it so much more unique than just having like, you know, a flat capped die coin. So it's basically like a 2 errors in one. I don't know what you would call this, maybe a die crack, but it's definitely a very special coin and one that I wouldn't give up for anything. Pretty much no amount of money is going to take this one out of my hands. It's probably the best error that I've ever found, and it was one of the first coins in one of the first boxes that I ever hunted, so it's very special to me. Up next, we have this rather odd coin, which I found in November of 2017. I'm almost positive I could tell you what this is today, so let's just break this out and get it up under the microscope, and I'll tell you why I don't actually think this is an error anymore. So you can see it's kind of like the same thing going on as the capped die coin. You can see that there's just a lot of details missing on that obverse, and the weird thing about this one is it's pretty much the same thing when you flip it over to the reverse. Now, what I actually believe this coin is a dryer coin or some coin that's been tumbled in some type of device. Typically, this would be a dryer. Like if you were to leave a coin in your pants and put it in the dryer and then just forget to remove it, as it just keeps tumbling and tumbling, and it kind of rounds out a lot of the details. That's why you see that it looks like this on both sides. I could be wrong. Definitely let me know down in the comments below, but I would say on this one there's probably not going to be any additional value. I would like to actually zoom in on that date though. That always looked very interesting to me. You can see it's a little bit thicker. It almost looked like a double die or a repunched mint mark on that Denver mint mark there. So I think that's probably the original reason why I kept the coin, was because I thought maybe there's a chance on that Denver mint mark, but I don't really even think that a 1982 Denver doubled die is a thing, but definitely let me know if I am wrong on that, because like I said, I'm not an expert in this stuff. All right guys, up next, I think this is probably also from around the 2017 era, and I put it in this flip here and just said error question mark, and I was referring to the reverse there. You can kind of see sort of a line going through the bottom left on the reverse there, but I think we're gonna get a better view of it up under the microscope here. So let's break into this one and take a look. So yeah, I think this one may actually be a die break, and we'll just kind of zoom in here a bit so we can take a closer look. I mean, you see this line right here, and it doesn't look like it's damaged to me. It looks like it actually protrudes from the coin. It goes all the way from the E here up to about the U in Unum, or sorry, not Unum, United States rather. But yeah, I think this one definitely is an error. Let me know down in the comments below, yay or nay on that one. I don't know. I think that definitely is, and it's cool. I don't think it's worth a ton just to have one like that. It's not super huge or anything, but it is definitely very cool looking, and I was happy to find that. Now this one, guys, I'm not so sure about. I didn't put a date on all these. I really wish I would have, so I knew exactly when I found these, but this one right here is a 1969 Denver Lincoln cent, and it's got that weird pattern on the obverse, nothing really going on the reverse. But I definitely am interested to look at this one close up and see if we can figure anything out. All right, here we go, bringing it up onto the microscope. So the original suspicion that I had on this one is that maybe this discoloration was just due to some type of liquid being involved in the coin, and then that caused that. I'm not really sure. I mean, just looking at it close up, I'm not really seeing too much to give any indication that this is any type of error coin. But let me know down in the comments below if you believe so. I'm definitely interested in hearing what you guys think. I do think it looks cool either way. It almost looks like Lincoln is just like shooting this ray of something out of his eyes and just like destroying whatever's in front of him. All right, so here's our next coin. We got some date doubling on this 1994 Denver Zinc Penny found in December of 2017. We'll go ahead and take a look at this, but I'm pretty sure this is gonna end up being some machine doubling. I'm not even really seeing it, just looking at it in this view, so the microscope is definitely gonna help us out here in identifying whatever date doubling we have going on. All right, here we go. We got it up under the scope. I think actually I'm starting to see what I was looking at before. Let me just adjust the lighting a little bit here if we can try to figure out the best way to show it. And let me just do a quick zoom here. I think we can go in quite a bit so we can actually take a look at that date. So yeah, look at this, guys. I think what I was probably looking at was the Denver mint mark. You can see almost like a little bit of zinc showing as if this was stamped twice. Now, I don't know if that is something to look out for, a 94 Denver repunched mint mark. I don't really see any doubling on the date itself, more so just on the mint mark, if anything. You can see there is almost like a double mint mark right there. One of them is showing up with that zinc color, and then the other one has the copper coating on top. This is probably just going to be machine doubling, but in case it's not, I thought it would be interesting to take a look at, and you guys can let me know if I should put that one back into the flip, or should I throw it back into circulation. All right, now this one right here is a coin that caused quite a bit of controversy when I found it originally. I believed it was an 1800s Indian head penny, but after further examination and kind of doing some pictures with it, I basically determined that it's probably just a 1901, but maybe this microscope will help us determine for sure. As you can see there, it was my second Indian head penny ever found in a roll. My first one was a lot easier to read. This one, not so much. So we're gonna put this under the microscope and see what we can determine. All right, guys, so here we are. I must say that date is definitely coming through a lot better right now. If we take a look here, I'm already seeing it as a 1901. It's so weird when you look at it with the naked eye. It definitely looks like an 8, and so people were thinking it might be an 1860s because it looks like 186 and then 1 maybe, so 1861. But there's just absolutely no way. If we look at it here, it looks a lot more like a 9, at least the 9s that were on the Indian head pennies. That's how sort of the bottom curls like a 9. And then that would make a lot more sense because that third digit definitely doesn't look like a 6. It looks a lot like too big to be a 6. I can see where the confusion came from though back in the day when I originally found this. It certainly looked like it could have been an 1860s coin, but now taking a closer look at it, it definitely just looks like a 1901. So that's what we're gonna have to go with on that one. So this right here is our final penny find. This one was actually found a little bit more recently in March of 2022 in our Coin Quest series. 1983D error is what this one's marked. I can kind of see what we're looking at there. I'm not sure the microscope's gonna help us too much with this one, but we'll take a look anyway. All right, so what I'm thinking on this one is, since this is a 1983 Denver penny, that means that it is going to be made of 95% zinc with a copper coating. And that being said, I think what we have here is just zinc rot or zinc bubbles. That's something that you see on zinc coins, especially older ones like this. This is just about as old as a zinc penny can be. That's probably what we're looking at here. Definitely let me know down in the comments below, though, if you think this is anything else. But you can kind of just see it, like all these little bubbles coming up. That's basically the coating just sort of peeling away from the zinc core there. and you get this bubbling effect sometimes. I definitely see that a lot more when I'm metal detecting. I think the environment kind of speeds that process up. But yeah, that's my guess on this one anyway. We'll go ahead and now move on to the nickels. All right, I want to start with this one because I find this very interesting. I was probably looking at these nickels for that famous Speared Buffalo 2005 that you can find, which I've never been able to successfully find, but I was looking for die cracks on these coins at one time. It looks like I thought I might have found one. I can't even really see it anymore. Apparently it was supposed to be from the eye in 5, which would be right here, and then up to one of these front legs. I can't really see what I was talking about, so I think we definitely need to take a look at this one under the microscope to get some more information. All right, now that I take a closer look here under 3x zoom, I can see a little better, I think, of what I was talking about. So I think it starts here. You see a small line right here, and I believe that that's gonna go all the way over to the eye. We might need to adjust the light to be able to see that a little better. I definitely am seeing the line here though. So let's see if we can turn it in any specific way. Yeah, I think that, there we go. That's making it show up a little better. So if I just do the light about like that, you can kind of see just like the smallest hint of a line going in that direction, especially if I put it like that. The thing is, this is such a difficult error to see. I don't think that it's going to be something that people are really interested in, but I could be wrong. I'll probably hold on to it either way because it is, I believe, going to be maybe just a tiny little die crack, and it's definitely worth something to me because it's one of the first coins that I ever found, so I will definitely hold on to it just for the memories in that case. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think about this one as well. All right, next up we have ourselves a Canadian coin that I found in CoinQuest Nickels Season 2. It appears to be a grease error, and I'm fairly certain that that is correct. Let's take a closer look at this one because this is actually very interesting. All right, so I will say this. I don't think grease errors show up very well on microscopes. They actually are a lot easier to see just using the naked eye, but you can tell up here on the top, these little dots are a lot more clear than, say, over here where it looks like they start to kind of fade away. Even coming all the way down this direction, they're just sort of faded in this general area. Really the only, even up here, the only place that they really show up well is at the top and then maybe in the 2 to 3 o'clock position here. And then we'll flip it over to the obverse here to take a look at that side as well. There's actually a lot more going on here. You can see there's massive fading over here in the dots on this right side, even coming all the way down to the bottom. They basically disappear at this point. So I would consider this definitely to be a grease error. So I would say that this is definitely a very heavy Canadian nickel grease error right here. It's very interesting to see at the very least. There's tons of detail missing down there on the bottom side of that obverse, as well as a lot of details even missing on Queen Elizabeth herself there. I don't know how much these go for. I find them all the time in American coins. This is probably the first one that I found in a Canadian coin though, so it's definitely an interesting find and a very cool first for me. Speaking of American grease errors, take a look at this 2016 Philadelphia grease error right here, which we found in Debo's first nickel competition hunt. That doesn't really require a microscope to see what's going on with that one, but we'll take a look at it under the scope anyway. All right, here we have the 2016 Philadelphia grease error. This is probably one of the most extreme examples that I have seen, and it definitely makes Jefferson look very creepy, almost ghost-like, just in time for Halloween actually, so I kind of like that. But look at that, guys. This is just insane. Now let's take a look at the reverse and see if we have any effects on that side as well. Yeah, not as many, I would say. I mean, there's definitely still a lot of loss of detail, especially like over here on the bottom left side, but definitely not as creepy as that obverse, which is just missing so much detail and definitely looks very interesting. I believe this is a grease error. Hopefully this isn't just like the starting process of a drier coin. That would be sort of disappointing, but it certainly looks like a grease error to me. Now moving on to our one and only dime find. We don't hunt dimes a whole lot, but this was definitely an interesting one that came out of a coin shortage hunt where I hunt 10 rolls of each denomination. It appeared to be silver. It even looks silver on the front. It looks silver on the side, but I can't fathom that this could possibly be a silver dime. It was found in November of 2021, and you can see there's the reverse right there. Let's go ahead and take a closer look under the microscope and see if we can determine definitively if this is actually a silver dime or not, which I'm sure it's not, but let's take a look anyway. I guess before we head to the microscope, I should probably show you the edge of that coin. And the reason that I was still believing it could be silver, it definitely looks uniform in color, which is kind of what you get in a silver dime. And my gosh, does that not look so, like if I think that is what I saw when I first found it, and I was like, there's no way that's not going to be silver. And 1980 Denver, there's pretty much no way. All right, let's take a closer look here under the microscope and see what we can figure out. All right, so here's our close-up. We're in at 2x zoom right now, and there you have it, 1980 Denver. And I don't know, this could be silver plated. Even like, listen to that, right? That sure sounds silver to me. I'm still kind of stumped on this one, but I'm about 95% sure that there is no silver in this dime. And if there is, I feel like it's probably going to be a plating, but it's definitely an interesting find. It very much made for an interesting video. I am seeing something though over here on this side that I didn't notice before. You can actually see like the ridges sort of go inward on this side of the dime, which is very interesting. Not something that I have seen before, at least not on a dime. Maybe that's because I've never looked at one up close before. I mean, that definitely could be it. Let's just zoom in as far as we can go here and take a look at that just real quick here. Yeah, that's kind of strange. I never noticed that before. Just like this weird ridge pattern over here on the left side. But anyways, guys, that is the continued mystery of the 1980 Denver silver dime, which we still haven't been able to figure out. But maybe you guys can offer some insight after seeing it a little more closely now. So moving on to the quarters, you're actually going to notice here every single quarter error that I have is basically the same thing. It is the Kansas quarter grease error, which you can see on the obverse of the coin. Basically what you're looking for is a grease error on the In God We Trust area. This one actually looks, as you can see here, it's In GD We Ust, especially if you hold it at the right angle, you can kind of see that. That's the nice thing about these. There's another In God We Rust right there. That's sort of the classic error. This one says In Odd We Rust, and this one here actually says In Odd We Ust. So I'm only going to be looking at one of these under the scope because they're all pretty much the same. I mean, they all have a little bit of a different grease pattern, but they are an interesting one to find, and they do come out quite a bit. I think I want to take a look at this one because I've never seen one other than this where the G is actually intact, but the O is gone. So let's take a look at this one under the scope. All right, guys, there we go. That is In GD We Ust. And you can see that does show up a lot better under the scope. You still see the letters. They do appear much fainter though. And of course, when you see it with the naked eye, you can almost miss those letters entirely. So the OTR are all having that grease error effect on them. And we're just left with In GD We Ust, which is, I think, is pretty cool. So it turns out those Kansas quarters were the only error quarters that we were able to find up until about last week. So here we have a regular 2021 Washington crossing the Delaware quarter, and if you take a look at the hat here, it is completely smooth as it should be. And then over here, we have what is known as the die chip 2021 Washington crossing the Delaware. Now this one's not very extreme, but it is there. You can see just a tiny little extra splotch of metal right there on the top of Washington's hat. It wasn't super easy to see with the naked eye, but when we got it zoomed in 3 times like this, it is much easier to see, and it is definitely there, and it's definitely a die chip, so I'm very excited to have this one. All right, guys, so now we are getting into some metal detecting finds. This is a very recent metal detecting find that I made in my Ultimate Coin Hunt series, and I believe that the date was 1913, although I had a lot of people telling me that it was in 1912. We're actually going to look at the reverse first, just because I want to show, because I know I talked about this, but just look at the amount of detail that we have left over here on the wheat stalks. I mean, it definitely is a crusty looking coin, but you can see that that detail is still there. So this was probably dropped when it was a very new coin, meaning that it was dropped around the 1910s. Now, if we actually flip it over to the obverse, we can take a look at the date side. Like I said, a lot of people thought it was 1912, but zoomed in here at 3 times, we can see that we definitely have a definitive 3. We have right here 1913. And you can see that 3 coming through very well. This right here was actually the first coin that I looked at under the microscope as soon as I got it set up, and I was really excited to see that the date was so easy to decipher just based on just putting it under the microscope. I didn't have to do anything special, just looking at it, and you can see clearly we have a 1913, whereas the naked eye wasn't able to capture that all the time. So just based off of that interaction alone, I was very happy with this microscope. But as you've seen here, it can get very detailed, and I don't even have it as low as it can go. You can actually lower it down quite a bit more, which is another thing that I really like about it. It is adjustable. You can bring it all the way up here, or put it all the way down there. These lights move around. You also have a light which can be turned down right there, and that actually makes it pop even a little bit more. I will say the one thing that I really like about this microscope, being someone who creates videos of this type of stuff, you can put a micro SD card in the microscope itself, and you can record to that without having to plug it into a computer. But you can also plug it into a computer as well, which is really nice if you're doing live streams, and that's probably something that I'm going to be doing in the future. But just being able to record video from this microscope straight to an SD card is really nice, because then I can just pop it into my computer, download all of that stuff onto the computer, and then start editing the video, which is really great for me. I will say my only major criticism of the microscope is that you can't record audio while you're doing it, so it's going to be a little hard to sync it up if you're trying to do a video like I am, but I did kind of figure out an easy solution for that, which I'll go ahead and show you right now. Pop, 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 pop. So yeah, that's my strategy for syncing up the microphone audio with the video on the Andon Star microscope, and I think it works pretty well. So continuing on with the theme of trying to figure out what the date is on coins that I metal detected, I found this coin back in June 28th of 2020. It is an Indian head penny, we know that for sure, but I could never get a date off of it no matter how hard I tried. I have a feeling it's going to be difficult even with the microscope, but we'll go ahead and give it a try and see what we can see. Alright, so here we have the obverse. It's a little tricky to tell, but we can see a nose, some lips, and then a chin right here. The date should be right down here on this part. The difficulty I'm going to say though is that you can't even feel like any types of protruding metal here. It's basically completely wiped. You can almost see like the ghost of a date. Like I kind of see like a 6 right there, but I feel like I'm just seeing things at this point. It's almost like that other one that we looked at earlier where you could pretty much make anything into a 6. But just for the heck of it, I'll go ahead and do a zoom in here on that date area, and we'll see if we can figure anything out just based on that. I mean, this is really all that we're working with, is just this spot right here, which basically has been flattened out over time. The place that I found this in is super wet, and it's probably been in the ground for 100+ years, so that is why we're not really seeing much on this, unfortunately. And I don't think we're going to anytime soon. So we gave it our best shot, but I just don't think that this one's going to be figure-outable, unfortunately. So here's our final metal detecting find from way back in the day, 2016. I wasn't doing much metal detecting back then, but the little that I did produced some pretty cool stuff, like this 1910 wood cent, kind of found in that same area. So I just wanted to look at this one under the microscope real quick. I don't even really want to take it out of the packaging, but I did just want to show you that wood grain finish. I don't think I've ever even found a coin roll hunting that has this, at least not as intense as this one right here. So that is just an awesome finish on that coin right there. It really does have that really nice wood grain effect to it. You can see it's kind of like green in this area and then brown, and it's all just kind of mixed in this really cool way. It just gives it a really nice look, and I can't even believe that I pulled this out of the ground. I mean, it barely looks like it has any environmental damage, especially coming out of the same area as that Indian head penny that I showed you earlier. So definitely unbelievable on that one. 1910 is about as old as you can get a wheat penny. Yeah, just one of my favorite finds, so I just wanted to show you that real quick. All right, now we're just gonna do a couple rapid fire. So these are actually Kevin's finds from back in the day, and I'm not gonna take these out of their packaging either, just because, you know, I'm not Kevin. I'm not gonna be able to put these back the same way. So let's just take a look at them under the scope here. Here we have the obverse of what he labeled 1961 grease air. And yeah, I definitely think that could be. I mean, look at how crazy that looks right there. Look at the metal on that. He said it's got a damage date as well. It certainly does. Man, that's an awesome looking coin, guys. Let me know down in the comments below what you think about this one as well. And then he said it's got a weak 5 cents. Let's take a look here. Yeah, 5 cents. That's pretty obliterated, and pretty much the same thing going on with the letters here as we saw on the obverse. So pretty cool coin there, Kevin. I don't know if you want that one back or not. It's been in my collection for the longest time. Over here, I think I should probably show it here first. 81 double rim excess material. So let's take a look at that. It's actually going to be up on the upper right side. You can see we have a doubled rim over here. It's starting kind of in like the, I don't know, what is that, 11 o'clock position? And then coming down to about 4 o'clock. So definitely some doubling there, and some probably, the excess material he's talking about is probably this up here, this sort of thicker area on the top right. And you can see that we have a thin rim over here on the bottom left. And I've seen these type of coins before. They don't go for a whole lot extra unless there's like a ton of extra rim, like a very off-center coin. I see like a little bit of the extra rim over here on the reverse as well. So once again, Kevin, very cool coin right there. Let me know if you want that back. And then we have here a 1987 Philadelphia clipped planchet. I've never actually found one of these myself. Kevin was lucky enough to find one. And you can see right there, that is the clipped planchet right there. That's a pretty cool coin. I would definitely love to find one of these for myself. Finally, guys, we have a coin that this is definitely the most specialty out of all of them. This coin was initially blank, but in a video that I did with Kevin, we dunked it in Nicodate, and it completely revealed all of these details. So if you take a look at it under the scope here, you can see all these details. Like I said, guys, it was completely blank before. You couldn't see anything, but now you can see the big 5 right there. This is going to be a shield nickel, and you can actually even see a pretty clear date right there, 1872. These are pretty small though, so they're not super easy to read, but 1872. And I even marked it on the 2x2 as well. So definitely an interesting video. If you haven't checked that one out, I'll put a link to it up here so you can do that now. Alright guys, so if you made it this far into the video, you're definitely a true fan, and Star was kind enough not only to send us this microscope, but a couple of packages which they wanted me to give away as well. So here I have a multifunctional microscope. It's almost like a mini version of a microscope, kind of looks like binoculars, and it looks like you can use it to look at coins as well. Just another little tool, and it's free, and I'm gonna be giving it away here to just a random person in the comments down below. So if you want a chance to win this, go ahead and leave a comment down below. It doesn't matter what it is, just leave a comment down below and I will be randomly selecting a winner by next week to send this out to. Just to give you a quick overview of what it is, it's a multifunctional microscope. It says you can start a wonderful journey of discovery. Of course, for our purposes, we're probably going to be looking at coins, let's be honest. And opening it on up here, see we have instruction guide, and then underneath we have the actual product. This one is pink. It even has a pink cable. And I noticed that in the package that they sent me all kinds of extra stuff in the package. So I'm thinking it looks like there's, I mean, usually this wouldn't come with it. You get a micro USB, it looks like 8 gigabytes there. Like I said, it's free, so you may as well give it a shot, and that'll give you a chance to look at some of your coins up close as well. But if you really are very serious about looking at your coins up close, I think you're definitely going to want to go for this Star 207S digital microscope. I'm loving it so far. I definitely am getting some good use out of it, and you saw how well it worked on the coins that we showed today, and I'm also excited to use it in my upcoming live streams. So once again, if you're interested in getting this for yourself, I'll be putting links down in the description below. I also have one other product that they sent me to give away, and I'll probably be doing that in a future live stream where I'm using the microscope, so definitely be on the lookout for that as well. But anyways, guys, that's gonna pretty much do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go down below and leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new, because I post new videos like this every single week, always bringing you along with the hunts or whatever we're doing and having a good time with it. Make sure to leave your comment down below for a chance to win that awesome prize from Star. And thank you so much to Star for sending us this awesome microscope. And as always, I'm Quinn, and this is Quin Coins signing out, and I will see you in the next one.